Unless you're living under a rock, chances are you have heard of the recent invasion of Ukraine by Russia. The invasion has had a global impact, and even in India, which is nowhere close to either Russia or Ukraine, the impact has been substantial. The biggest concern for the Indian government right now is ensuring that Indians living in Ukraine return safely at the earliest. Of the 18,000 Indians in Ukraine, most are students who went off to the far-off European nation to study medicine. But why are Indians going in thousands to all corners of the world to study? And does this once again highlight the poor conditions of Indian education system? I am Megha Thakuria, and in this week's Decoded, we'll look at just how wanting Northeast India's infrastructure is when it comes to studying medicine.
For months.
To a village of Assam,
In the 75th Independence Day,
Russia may have invaded Ukraine on February 25th, but in truth, this region has been in conflict for much longer. So allow us a short history lesson. Almost exactly 8 years ago, Ukraine's Maidan revolution came to an end, and the then President Viktor Yanukovych fled Ukraine's capital Kiev. The parliament appointed an acting president and an acting prime minister, and made clear their intention to draw Ukraine closer to Europe by signing an association agreement with the European Union. Just around the same time, armed men began occupying key facilities and checkpoints on the Crimean Peninsula. Moscow maintains a historical claim to Crimea. The Russians colonized Crimea during the reign of Catherine the Great, and they founded Sevastopol, the peninsula's main port and largest city, to be the home port for the Russian Black Sea Fleet. After the Soviet Union was established, Crimea was a part of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic until 1954, after which it was transferred administratively to the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. Now back to the armed men occupying key facilities in Crimean Peninsula. Even as Ukrainians call them Little Green Man, Russian President Vladimir Putin denied these were Russian soldiers, only to later admit that they were, and award commendations to their commanders. By early March, Russian troops had secured the entire peninsula. On March 6, the Crimean Supreme Council voted to ask to accede to Russia and schedule a referendum for March 16, which offered two choices: join Russia or return to Crimea's 1992 constitution, which gave the peninsula significant autonomy. Interestingly, in true democracy, Putin style, those who favored Crimea remaining part of Ukraine under the current constitution had no box to check. The conduct of the referendum proved chaotic and took place in the absence of any credible international observers. On March 18, the Crimean and Russian officials signed the Treaty of Accession of the Republic of Crimea to Russia. Putin ratified the treaty 3 days later. The 2022 events are a continuation of this conflict. We are not going to spend much time on the ongoing conflict, since there are several reports and resources available on the same. Let us now move on to how and why Indian students landed in Ukraine. Over the past week, EastMojo has extensively covered rescue operations in Ukraine, and of course we have focused on students returning to Northeast. The first question that came to the mind of so many people was rather the obvious one: where is Ukraine? But jokes apart, many people have been wondering why a student from, say, Manipur or Nagaland head off to a far European country to become a doctor. Surely there are better, cheaper and closer options, right? Absolutely not. Welcome to Northeast. You see, there are essentially two types of medical colleges in India: private and government. Within the government colleges, there are again two types: central and state. Across 8 states in the Northeast, there are only 20,000 seats in government colleges for studying medicine. Clearly, this number is way too low for 8 states whose combined population is over 4.5 crore. 1 second, we are kidding of course. There aren't 20,000 seats. If you're already typing an angry message, wait, it is not 20,000. It is not even 2,000. Across 8 states, we only have 1,807 seats in the government colleges. Even by Northeast standards, that is a shockingly low number. However, we have not considered nursing colleges and have added information of only those institutions that provide a MBBS degree. Then there are private colleges. Sure, there are many in the Northeast, but we cannot at once prove how good each of these are. Let us take the example of one of the most well-known private universities in the Northeast, the Sikkim Manipur University. To study there, even if you are a Sikkim resident, you will have to pay over Rs 7 lakh per year for 4.5 years as just the course fee. If you take the hostel and dare to eat, you are looking at an additional Rs 1.3 lakh per annum. If you are a non-Sikkimist, you are looking at Rs 17 lakh per annum plus Rs 1.3 lakh per annum. If you are in the management quota, the yearly fee is Rs 33 lakh per annum. In short, your parents have to be really well off if you wish to be a doctor. Or you have to be really intelligent to get into a government college. Most students, as the Ukraine example explains, are somewhere in between, less than the ideal to get into one of the few government colleges and not rich enough to spend crores for a degree. In Ukraine, by contrast, a medical college costs Rs 15 to 17 lakh for a 6-year course, cheaper than private medical colleges in India. To put this in perspective, this is the same fee structure of Sikkim Manipur, for example. However, the state-run universities in Ukraine are known for their quality education, and Indian parents seem to prefer to send their children to universities abroad instead of paying a hefty fee for little-known private colleges in India. Please note that merely studying abroad does not make them doctors in India by default. Once the students return to India, they must appear for the Foreign Medical Graduate Exam, held by the National Board of Examinations to obtain a license to practice in India. Does everyone from Ukraine clear it? Of course not, but it is a risk students are willing to take. Where next? For Northeast. We spoke with Nilam Kalita, who remains stranded in Ukraine, to understand why he chose to study there over India. Here's what he had to say.
নৰ্থ ইষ্টত মেডিকেল পঢ়াৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত ক'বলৈ গ'লে আমাৰ নৰ্থ ইষ্টত বা অসমত যথেষ্টখিনি মেডিকেল কলেজ নাই, মানে বহুত কম মেডিকেল কলেজ। মই 2017 বেটছ যেতিয়া দিছিলোঁ তেতিয়া আপোনাৰ 6-7খন চাগে মেডিকেল কলেজ আছিল। মই চিয়'ৰ নহয় অসমত কিমানখন মেডিকেল কলেজ আছিল। অবভিয়াছলি মই যদি তাতে নিট ক্ৰেক কৰিব পাৰিলোঁ হয়, নিটত মই চিট পালোঁ হয়, মই ইণ্ডিয়াতে পঢ়িলোঁ হয়, অসমতে পঢ়িলোঁ হয়।
However, there is a bigger problem for the Northeast. In December 2021, according to the information released by the Press Information Bureau, as informed by the National Medical Commission or the NMC, 132 medical colleges in the government sector and 77 medical colleges in the private sector have been approved in the country since 2014. The number of UG seats have increased by 72%. From 51,348 before 2014 to 88,120 seats as of date. And the number of PG seats have increased by 78%, from 31,185 seats before 2014 to 55,595 seats, including DNB and CPS seats. As informed by NMC, 21 medical colleges in the government sector and 16 medical colleges in the private sector have been approved in Uttar Pradesh by the NMC and MCI since 2014. Further, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare administers a centrally sponsored scheme for the establishment of new medical colleges attached with existing district or referral hospitals. Under the scheme, a total of 27 medical colleges have been approved in the state of Uttar Pradesh and 13 medical colleges are functional. Further, 2 new AIIMS have been approved at Raebareli and Gorakhpur. You can see the list of all places where the centers have been approved. Yup, not a single one from the Northeast. For now, there is an AIIMS upcoming in Assam, but it seems a case of too little albeit never too late. And just like every other sector, it will be years before we can even imagine Northeast that produces as many doctors as it needs.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.